Hi friends, welcome. I'm Nancy Novak and it's Wednesday, it's hump day, yay, and I'm ready to do my Facebook Live. Tonight we're going to do two cards, and one I call simple stamping and the other one is stepped up stamping. So they're very similar, but I want you to see what the difference is. Simple stamping is all the rage right now and I love it, and it's great for everyone. If you've never stamped before, you will love it because all you need is paper, stamps, and ink. You don't need any accessories, you don't need any embossing folders or cutting machines, just simple stamping. So I think you're going to like it. And then the other one is actually, I was going to show you really quick, the other one is actually the card we made last week in my local class. I had about 4 or 5 ladies, and I do that every Saturday. So if you are in the area, Facebook message me for more details. I'd love to have you visit us. We have a lot of fun. So let me show you what we're going to do tonight. So these are the two cards. Is the simple card. All I used were the stamps and some coloring tools, which we'll get into, and paper, and then I added a bow. And then this one, I used my Big Shot to cut out the frame, and I used the Big Shot in an embossing folder to give this some texture, and it's subtle texture, it's very subtle. But both are very pretty, so let's get started. The stamp sets I'm using, this is the new Cling stamp set called Humming Along, and Cling are the new stamps that we have at Stampin' Up, and what's nice about these is there's a little stencil that attaches to the back of the stamp, so when you're stamping you can see exactly where you're stamping, and these stick really hard, so you got to be careful when you put them on. You don't have to be careful when you put them on, but you do have to be careful when you pull them off. You want to make sure that you grab an edge and then peel them off. And then the way I store them is, let me show you here. So here's the rubber stamp. This is how they come, and I still haven't taken out the hummingbird. The hummingbird is still inside there. Eventually when I get that hummingbird out and I start using him, I'm going to get rid of this rubber part. I don't need that anymore. And then this is the piece that comes with the stencils. So all I do is, there's the thank you stamp. I just store them like that, and then I close it up. So you don't need this big rubber piece once you get everything all ready and all your stickers and decals on. So there we go. That's Humming Along. It's got the hummingbird and the pretty flower. It's got wishing you an amazing birthday, thank you, and hope you feel better really soon. So that's why I called this my all occasion card, because I think you could put, I loved it on the outside. I didn't want to add any sentiment on the outside, and then you can add whatever sentiment you like on the inside. So, you know, sympathy, birthday, I mean, whatever sentiment you put on the inside changes the mood of the card. And then the other stamp set that I used, I love this one. This one's been around for a couple of years. It's called Timeless Textures, and I use it a lot. You get a lot of use out of this. So like I said, if you don't have embossing folders and you have this stamp set, you can add a lot of texture to your card. It's flat texture, but it looks gorgeous. So you can give it a lot of different looks with this. So that's an excellent stamp set. Okay, so bring in my card pieces. So let's see, this one I made in Whisper White. So I have my Whisper White card base. That's 8.5 by 5.5 by 5.5, and it's scored at 4 1/4. And then I have my outside matte piece of Balmy Blue. That's 5 1/4 by 4 inches. And then I have my stamping piece, which is 5 inches by 3 3/4. Then I cut a little piece of scrap, and this one is 3 1/2 by 2 1/4. So this is going to be my masking piece when we start stamping. I already stamped my flower on a piece of Whisper White. I stamped it in the Memento ink, and then I fussy cut it. So I didn't want to waste any time right now doing that. I actually do have one more flower to cut in my next card, and I will fussy cut that just so you can see exactly how to do it. So I don't want to skip too many steps in case I have some newbies here. So what I'm going to do is bring in something to stamp on, just a little scrap here. And I'm going to bring in my stamping piece. Let me put it on this colored first so you can see what I'm doing. So this is my stamping piece and this is my masking piece. So I just put a little bit of snail on here to hold it in place. And then I positioned it on my stamping piece right in the center. I'm going to bring this back in because I'm going to make a little bit of a stamping mess, and I want to keep it all on this scrap. So I'm going to bring in my soft suede stamp pad, and I'm using 2 stamps from the Timeless Texture. I am using this little dotted stamp, and I'm going to use this little flower stamp. Okay, so get positioned here so I can move easily. So I'm going to show you something. These are the older stamps. Like I said, Timeless Textures has been around for a while, and I added my sticker to the back so I could see what it is. But these are the older ones, and they don't stick as well as the new cling stamps. You do not have to worry with the new cling stamps. They definitely stick. So I'm going to take a little bit of chapstick, and then I'm going to put it on my stamping block, and that should hold it. We'll see how it does. See, kind of holds it in place. So if you have some of those older stamps, that's what you're going to do. So I'm going to stamp off, and I'm going to go all around my masking piece. So just trying to get positioned here. So I'm going to stamp off and stamp off, and just go all the way around that masking piece. You want to get a little bit close, kind of overlap that masking piece so you don't leave too big of a border, because we only want the border to be that masking piece. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in the little flowery stamp. It's not really a flower, but, and then I'm going to use that full strength. And I'm going to do the same thing, just go all the way around. Whoops, don't want to stamp off. So it's very subtle, but when you get it all done, you can really see it. It's cool looking. I think that's good. Okay, let's see what it looks like, okay? Boy, my soft suede ink is very, very juicy. I'm going to clean it off before we go any further. So I'm bringing my Stampin' Scrub, put on some Stampin' Mist, and clean this. So wet on this side, dry on this side. And let me clean this one off too. This is a nice tool also because it really gets in the grooves of your stamps when you clean it, and then you can just take these pieces out and take it down to your laundry tub or whatever you have that you don't mind getting a little bit messy, and then you just rinse it off with water, and all that ink just goes away, and it doesn't stain your sink, so you don't have to worry about that. Okay, let's see what we got. So I'm just going to take this off, and there's our cute little frame. I love it. So then I brought in my little flower, and I colored this in with the Stampin' Blends, and I used Balmy Blue and Crumb Cake and Granny Apple and Daffodil Delight. So I'm actually going to bring this back in so I can color on it. So I'm just going to color in the stamen of the flower with my Daffodil Delight. And the stem. fun coloring with these. And my Granny Apple Green. So you ladies do know that anything that you do creative is healthy for you. If it makes you happy, it's healthy for you. So that's another benefit of making our beautiful cards. Keeps you healthy, keeps you happy. I missed a piece. I'm going to do my brown little tiny stem right here, right down the center here. I'm so glad you guys are here with me tonight. I'm just going to go around, fill it in with the light balmy blue. Kind of just all blends, excuse me, blends together nicely. I'm just thinking ahead. I probably could have had that other flower all cut out, but I didn't. I'm going to have to go through this one more time. That's okay. If I have some latecomers, they'll get to see it too. So, Stampin' Blends are easy. You don't have to be too fancy with them. It's hard to make a mistake with them. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the lines, just kind of darken the center of it. So even though it's my light balmy blue, I am still getting that extra texture, that extra, what's the word I'm looking for, ladies? Contrast. Okay, that's it. So now, let's just put this card together. So I'm going to bring in my card base, and I have my matte piece, balmy blue. So yep, if you are just starting out, you just get some pretty Stampin' Up! Paper, pick your favorite colors, a couple of inks, favorite stamp set, and there are tons and tons of different cards you can make just with simple stamping. So I didn't mention that. I want to show you this before I put this on. First time I did it, I kind of just laid it down like this, which that's gorgeous too, with the flower on here. I'm going to put my flower on. But then I decided to put a little teeny tiny mat of, and you know what? This is too big. I stamped on my bigger piece. Hang on, I'm going to trim it real quick just to show you. You know what? I'm going to show you the difference. So this is my original, and this one here I'm just going to put down like this, right in the center. And then I'm going to bring my pretty flower in. How easy is this? And then I have a little bow. I'm going to attach my bow with a glue dot. So I will throw the dimensions on my blog tomorrow, so you can know exactly the sizes that you need for these matte pieces. But if you have any questions, you can always Facebook message me, and I will write you back right away. Okay, so let's look at the difference. So this one has a teeny tiny soft suede matte piece, and this one's plain. So they're both gorgeous. So again, simple stamping. If you have two colors, if you have blue and white, you just do this one. If you have extra colors, you can always add a matte piece, but they're both so pretty. What do you think? Easy, right? Simple. Okie doke. Let's bring in our other card. And I'm trying to think of the name. Oh, Nature's Poem. Nature's Poetry. I believe that's the name of this designer series paper. So let's see, let me close this up before I drop something in my ink pad there. Okay, so I need my Big Shot. I think first let me stamp my flower. So I'm going to write my memento in here. And I'm going to ink my big flower up, and since it is so big, I'm going to put the stamp down and ink it this way rather than doing it this way. Okay, so here's my scrap piece. Pretty? How can it be pretty? It's just black, right? It's gorgeous. Came out so rich looking. I'm going to let this sit for a little bit while I bring in my Big Shot. And I need a balmy blue piece, and I need my designer series paper, and bring in my Big Shot. Okay, so on this piece I took two of the rectangles from the Framelit set. Just throw it through my Big Shot here. And I think I'll go back, make sure I got a good cut on it. Okay. So we got this little tiny piece that we may be able to use for something in the future. And then I'm just going to push away from the center, break that framelit away, and there is our framed piece. Okay, going to use the Big Shot one more time. And this time I'm going to bring in my subtle embossing folder. And I'm going to sandwich my balmy blue piece in that folder. And run it through the Big Shot. Uh-oh. You know what I did wrong? This is a dynamic texture embossing folder, which means it's extra thick. So you only need to use one sandwich plate for that. So there we go. So when you start putting it through your Big Shot, if it doesn't go through, stop what you're doing and just check it out. That's most likely the reason. You don't have it set up correctly and it's too thick. So let's see if you can see how pretty that is. It's very subtle. So let me get this out of the way. So why I use the subtle was this paper here actually looks like it has the same kind of lines in it. So that's what I thought of. I put that together. So I also have a piece of Very Vanilla that basically just fits right underneath that frame. And I'm going to bring in my dimensions. Oh, those are my baby dimensions. I'm going to bring in my regular size dimensions. And you need a lot of dimensions for this. You don't want it sagging. I hate saggy cards. Okay. Okay. And this piece is going to go on here. And I just nail that on or glue it. right in the center. And then let me bring in my card base. So this one's on Very Vanilla. It's going to go right there. So this is going to be for my inside. Let's color this baby in, okay? So you know that your Stampin' Blends have that thick line and the thin line, which tells you which, the thickness of the coloring tool that you're using. So I'm going to color this in first and then I will cut it out. This is an easy one to cut out. You just got to jig-jag your scissors all the way around it because it's got a nice curvy edge to it. Snail. It's really a pretty flower. Glue dot inside. So all occasions, right? So this one I am going to use the Wishing You an Amazing Birthday. Let's see what I do on this one. This one I did Hope You Feel Better really soon. So I am going to stamp this in the soft suede. So I'm inking this up in soft suede. Make sure it's looks good. Then I'm going to bring in Granny Apple Green. And my leaf stamp. See the leaf stamp right there. So I'm going to bring in a scrap. I want to see if I want it in dark green or light green, which means I would stamp off. Ooh, I'm going to do it in the dark. I think I did this one. Let me look here. This one I stamped off because it was Hope You're Feeling Better, because I wanted to have a softer feel to it. That's how my mind thinks. And then this one, I'm just going to put a pretty little leaf right here. That's it. That's all I'm doing to it. I like it. I'm going to snail it together. Could bring in which card needs the middle. Inside done. So if you are in the area, ladies, Livonia, Canton, Ann Arbor, Facebook message me and I'll give you the details of the classes. They're every Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. If that time isn't good, Facebook message me and let me know, because I'm trying to get another class going, but I want a few ideas of days and times that are good for people. So Facebook message me that and I will see what I can do. Oh, it's gorgeous. I love that Granny Apple Green. Just a subtle touch, right? So let's bring in our cards. So let's see, I have the two simple cards. One's got that tiny little border, brown border, soft suede, and this one doesn't. Take a peek. And then the stepped up version where we got to use our Big Shot and our new Framelits and the subtle texture embossing folder and the pretty blue ribbon. And so I hope you're feeling better really soon, or wishing you an amazing birthday. So there you go. I hope you liked tonight's cards. If you do, please leave me a comment. Let me know. I appreciate you guys being here. Share my video if you feel like it, if you've got some friends that might be interested, I appreciate that too. Well, thanks a lot, everyone. Until next time, don't be shy. Stamp and shout.